Hi, and welcome to the OT Tip of the Month. This month, I wanted to bring awareness about ergonomics and positioning of our students in their chairs. This is often something we look at as occupational therapists at the beginning of the school year, and it's a great time now, halfway through the year, to revisit this topic and bring awareness to it because kids have grown. And really, the reason that we're talking about it and thinking about it is because when we're in a good position, it really can help us facilitate handwriting and attention. There's lots of ways that our posture and how we're seated and our positioning can really impact function. So here's kind of a lovely list for you of all those different ways that we've seen poor posture or poor positioning result in some challenges at school. Of course, our musculature system can get very tired when a student is sitting in this type of posture. You can see they're kind of rounded shoulders, their neck's kind of forward. This can certainly lead to fatigue, not just in their muscles in their neck and their shoulders, but really their whole body. It can lead to more pain and strain in specific muscles. But for some of our students, if they have really poor postural control and they're not in a great position, they can be putting conscious effort towards keeping themselves upright. And that leads to fatigue. That can lead to inattention. It can lead to work avoidance or refusal, acting out, lashing out. All of those different things really can be related to, just being really fatigued and that being really, really hard. There are certain students that I'm sure you've seen who really don't like handwriting, and one of the reasons could be related to posture and positioning. So it is something to keep awareness of and just be conscious that this is one factor to consider and that we consider as occupational therapists. So, what is the proper positioning that one should be in? Here it is. As far as what we want to see is this, there's the 90-90-90 rule. So 90 degrees at their elbow, 90 degrees at their hips, 90 degrees at their knees, and then we also want to see 90 degrees at their feet. So in that last photo, the student's desk was way too high, and what then his shoulders were hiked up, his wrists and elbows were more bent, his neck was more flexed. So you can see where that inattention and fatigue can come in. You can see how that would potentially result in this being, writing being really hard and not wanting to engage in that. And so, if you're an adult, this pertains to us as adults and educators as well. If you are working on a computer, ideally your neck is in a neutral position and you have your computer monitor about an arm's length away. So this is not just for our students, this is for us as adults as well. And those same factors that impact function certainly can impact us as educators as well. So what you can do about this is that you can take a look and see, in your classroom, depending on if you have desks or chairs, if you have if you have desks or tables. If you have tables, you want to be thoughtful of the size of your different students. So depending on the grade that you teach, I know middle school, there's such a variety of heights of different students. And so that might be, if you're a middle school teacher, you might want to pay attention to that a little bit more of, kind of grouping students according to their size. If you do a seating chart, because again, we don't want the table to be too high. It's much easier if you have individual desks to look at that with your students. Oftentimes we'll ask janitors to help us to raise desks or tables up or down. They're usually willing to do that if you make a plan with them. So you can certainly reach out to your janitor if you're noticing that tables are just way too high or way too low. And also being mindful of the chair size. So in elementary, often we see that chairs can be too big for students and then their feet are dangling on the floor. So a footstool is an easy accommodation that you can make for students so that their feet are grounded. They have that 90 degrees at their knees, hips, and ankles. And if you have some individual students on IEPs that are struggling with writing, be sure to have the occupational therapist make sure they have looked at their ergonomics and their positioning in their chair. There are certain cushions that we sometimes recommend for pelvic position with certain students. So that's also an option, and just reach out to your OT to talk about specific students. And of course, when we are doing computer work or doing preparation, we want to make sure that we have that similar ergonomics so that we're preventing the fatigue, the muscle strain, the inattention, all of those things that can come about when we have poor positioning. So I hope that this was helpful for you, and you take a look at your students this week and their positioning. Thank you.